Ignition. I want to talk today about another topic, a topic that Mr. Kirk and I and 36 other members of the Senate are co-sponsoring a bill that, an amendment that we would hope to add to the small business bill if we ever get back to the small business bill. This is an amendment that we offered independently as a bill a month ago. The Gas Accessibility and Sustainability Act. And what this bill really does is it takes further an effort that was put into law in 2005, right before Hurricane Katrina, that allowed the president to suspend the unique boutique fuel standards in the country if there was a natural disaster. And Mr. President, that happened immediately, almost within a couple of weeks, as I recall, after the bill became law. The president used that authority, and in the 6 months following Katrina, even though the Gulf was obviously disrupted and a couple of refineries were very disrupted, gas prices didn't go up because for the first time since the passage of the Clean Air Act, gasoline was a commodity again. And what this bill would do, as we now see gasoline prices at $4.37 in Hawaii, at $3.88 in St. Louis, and particularly prices that are high in communities that have a unique blend of fuel that's only available in that community. This bill would allow the president to have that authority if there's any kind of disruption, if the Suez Canal was shut down for some period of time, if a refinery went down, if there was a pipeline disruption that truly made it very difficult for communities to get their unique blend of fuel, but was much easier for you to just get fuel that met the standard of being fuel at the gas pump. And Mr. Kirk and I introduced this together. He was a great advocate of this bill when it passed the House, and I'd like to turn to him for a moment and see what he has to say today about this bill that really allows us to look at the gas prices that are creating real problems in the country today.
Mr. President, I note that under the Blunt legislation, we would correct a growing problem in the United States with gas prices. Right now, for example, in the Chicagoland area, gas prices total about $4.14 a gallon. I'm sure in Missouri it's probably quite high.
Well, it's $3.88 in St. Louis, which would be the area that we have that uses, again, the most specialty fuel.
And this map shows, it's a very complicated map, but what it shows is that by federal regulation, the federal government has divided the national gasoline market up into 17 separate submarkets. And these 17 separate submarkets all have their unique recipe of gasoline. And by federal regulation, you cannot use gasoline that was sold in Chicagoland, which under this chart is the Chicagoland-Milwaukee RFG with the ethanol standard. In the St. Louis area, the SRFG standard with ethanol. By creating small, tiny monopolies, we create higher prices for the American people. And I think that's why the Blunt legislation is necessary.
Well, I thank Senator for those comments, and I just point out using your chart here that in Missouri you buy one blend of gas in St. Louis, another blend of fuel in the Kansas City area, and a third blend yet in between. And so clearly these areas aren't even unique in the fuel that's used there. If you buy fuel driving from one city to the other and use the other half of the tank while you're driving around to St. Louis, you're using the fuel that is available generally anyhow. This does really a couple of things, and one is it allows in a time where it's hard to get fuel, for any reason, the president to waive those standards. And the other thing it does is cap these fuels so that if the EPA decides under the Clean Air Act that you have a clean air attainment problem in your city, you have to go and look at the existing fuel blends and choose from one of them rather than what had happened in the country up until 2005, which was every city somehow became convinced that there was a unique fuel blend for them that only would work there, that never would quite work anywhere else. and that doesn't make sense. We've headed in the other direction. This legislation heads us a little further and a little faster in a direction to where we don't have these unique blends. We have fuel as fuel again, and fuel, whether it's the restaurateurs that some of us may have seen today, or the various businesses where if fuel's $4 a gallon, something has to give, and maybe it goes throughout the entire economy. This helps solve that problem, and hopefully we can be talking about an energy bill before too long. But clearly, whether it's a small business bill or any other bill, the cost of fuel makes a real difference in the country today. This amendment that we hope to offer eventually to the small business bill is one of the things that helps solve that problem. And
I just want to say that the unhighlighted areas are where regular gasoline is sold. And then the highlighted areas are where these little gasoline monopolies that by federal regulation have been created. What happens if another hurricane hits the Gulf? If this area was lacking its specific kind of gasoline under the current regulations, it could not borrow gasoline from Missouri or Chicagoland or Georgia or anywhere else. So we have created an incredible price rigidity in this system. Long term, I think we should move the country to one clean burning fuel. But the one thing we should not do is have 17 different submarkets, all now with the ability to charge the American driving public much higher prices than would otherwise be the case. And I commend the gentleman. This is exactly why we need the Blunt legislation. And the Blunt amendment should pass to address this problem. One of the reasons why gasoline costs too much in the United States.
Well, I think my good friend from Illinois, a long-term proponent of this concept, we're going to continue to work for things that make gasoline and the fuel system work better and make more sense for people all over America. Madam President, I would yield the floor back.